Welcome to Powerful Women Off the Record. I'm your host, Elizabeth Veely. Today I'm joined by Sonia Ashford, owner of the Ashford Insurance Group, as well as the owner of the Shayla Holdings Group, focusing on mergers and acquisitions. In this conversation, we talk about what it really takes to remain authentic while leading in a complex world. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Okay, excellent. Sonia, all right. So we just started talking about a lot of great stuff already. So you were just talking about the quiet confidence. Talk to me about that.
Yes. Well, we as women, we have that power and we don't need a man. Even though I love men, don't get me wrong, but we don't need a man to be powerful and to make those decisions and to be able to make our mark on the world. There's so many times in history that women were the changing force on the good that happens in the world. And we can make that change come about in our world. So many times there's just so much bias, I think, and there's still the stereotype that, we just need to sit back and let the men manage this, and the good old boy kind of thought that we can overcome and we need to support each other as women, that we can, tell a man, well, I make the decisions, or my husband works for me, you know and so sometimes they sit back and they're real quiet because they have to take that in for a minute and realize that yes, we are powerful women.
Yeah.
uh, that's one of the things that um, my daughter and I have talked about was, you know we need to be supporting ourselves because we can, because we never know, if we have a husband in our life or a significant other, we never know when that can change. And so we have to be prepared, whatever that means for each person, to be able to support ourselves. If it's a job loss, if it's a death, that's really important for us, is to maintain our training, our education, because if we let that fall to the wayside, then what happens when we have a life change? And how are we going to manage that?
I love that you're bringing this up because this comes down to the line of being a mom
Yep,
and how sometimes when the kids come, our priorities shift and sometimes they shift a little bit too much and we're
yep.
focusing all of our energy on other people outside of ourselves and we're not doing the things we need to do to maintain our energy and maintain our frequency. So tell me how you've done that. Like how, because you have a very successful career, you've raised an amazing daughter. So how are you, what tools do you lean on to get back into your power, when you get tired or you get a little beat up? Like, what do you do?
Well, I have to remind myself that I am doing that for my children, because who is going to suffer the most if something happens and I can't support my children? We've heard these stories about these women who, have lost a spouse and they marry somebody else to support them. We can support ourselves. And, going to school, even though it was really hard when my children were young, I maintained going to school and learning and getting licensed in different areas so that I knew that I had options if I ever needed those options. And those things have been the most helpful to me, is continuing to learn. And it doesn't have to be formal education. We have gifts, even just in learning, you know, I don't know, different things, because we can teach dance classes, we can teach, people how to do things, we can coach people, learning, just about personality types and things like that. So there are lots of different ways that we can maintain that strength and maintain that learning. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I think it's just really about education. Never stop learning. There's always something new that we can expand on.
I
And
agree with you. I agree with you on finding your own world, your own path to financial autonomy,
Yep.
because if not, you get real vulnerable real fast and you might make some bad decisions. Like you just said,
Yes.
you may have to partner up with somebody you don't want to partner up with, or take a job you don't really want to take that's going to compromise something about you, right? And so yeah, I think I'm with you, and I don't know if women are taught that enough growing up, either how important that is in order to maintain your sovereignty, right? So
Right.
I love that you said that, and you kept learning, so which is never ending, right? Which I think
Right.
is fantastic. That is really really good. So um, you've leaned on learning. You feel like though you just kind of came in with this inner strength knowing this, or was this taught to you by anyone, like a parent or anyone?
No, it's just what was inside of me. I've just always had this need to excel and to learn and to grow. I had a great grandmother who was an entrepreneur. She came from Finland, and she had retreats in the Iron Range of Minnesota when she came to America. She immigrated here, and she opened up a retreat. She opened up a lodge where people would come and they would have saunas and they would relax. And so I guess maybe in seeing that, and I come from a line of women who were working one, two, three different types of jobs sometimes.
Wow.
And
Interesting.
so, because not because they had to, but because maybe they wanted more.
Okay, I love that. Pause that. They, because they are creators, right?
Yeah.
We're just designed to be a creator, right? We have the
Yeah.
womb, we're creating human beings, and we have to create to stay alive, to stay healthy, to keep like the juiciness left in life, right? So I
Yes.
love that you just said these women had multiple jobs, but not out of desperation or
No.
poverty consciousness. It was feeding them, because it was feeding a creative fire. And what a blessing for you to see that, to see someone and then all the people I'm sure she helped. I mean, it just keeps going on.
Yep. And that's the wonderful thing is that they didn't work because they had to, they worked because they liked working or they wanted to have more than what they had. And so that's kind of been a fire inside of me. It was I want to be more than just somebody that nobody remembers. I want to leave my mark on the world besides my children, which I've got wonderful children. So I have five sons and a daughter. And
Oh,
I always have told her, you are God's gift to me. You are God's special gift to me because you're my only daughter. And that's a special relationship for us. Even though I love my sons and they're wonderful, she was just a special gift to me. And she and I just have been able to work through, strength and things like that. We've studied about women in history who were um, path makers and who made the way for others and who actually changed from um, I guess different places where men could not go, the women could go, and they were able to change history. So even we have that strength that we can do that. We just have to find it. And it comes
mm.
from within us. And that strength and that I want to do this and nobody's going to stop me from doing it.
Yeah, yeah. You know what you just made me think of? Um, you started talking in the very beginning, which we haven't and then we started recording, but about how we need a place with other women, with other support, right?
Yes.
And I am really spending time lately on the mother-daughter relationship and the power of it. First off, protecting it, because I really feel like social media and whatever scary algorithm a young person might run down. There's some bashing that goes on about, like, parenting, and that you should have had a perfect child childhood and all this and
Right.
that, right? Where I think we grew up never expecting a perfect childhood. We probably were just trying to survive. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But the mother-daughter relationship, first off, I feel like it's sacred. Secondly, I think we need to protect it. But talk to me a little bit about that because it feels like your daughter has given you strength and maybe like some hidden, not hidden, but deep push to maintain these beliefs, not only so that you could take care of her for a while, but that you can also instill them into her. So talk
Yes.
to me a little bit about your daughter and any other do you find any other places for women to get together that support each other honestly, authentically, zero competition, just really wanting to raise everyone up?
Yes. And that I think is really key because women sometimes are in competition with each other. So sometimes that is, well, it always is very, very toxic. And so that can really kill friendships because we've got to lift each other up. Because, I mean, we each are in a different place, but we're in the same place. And so having that relationship with my daughter and helping her to grow not only helps her, but her daughters also. And I love to see the relationship with her and her daughters, empowering them to be who they are. And so, not creating an ideal because my daughter and I are very different. I'm very much a rule follower and I like things so, just so. And my daughter is very out of the box, and when she had purple hair and it was beautiful, I had to embrace that because that's not me. And so, just opening my heart up to love her for who she is and for the fact that she made my daughter different than me. And so I can still support her in that and love her. And it really, really solidifies that relationship and not being in competition and not, trying to mold her into what I want her to be because we're all made differently.
Right.
And, even my granddaughters. So, I have a granddaughter who hates pink, and it's like, I love pink. And it's like, what's wrong with pink? But she'd rather wear camo. So it's like, okay, well, let's just embrace that camo for now because it's not forever, and
Right.
she has a different path than I have. And so she may need something different when she grows up than what I needed. And so just embracing that individuality and not trying to stuff her in a box.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. Talk to me about like what is the world's, swirling around us and it always is, it's funny. You listen to some songs from 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, it doesn't matter. There's always something going on in the world. How how do you keep yourself feeling grounded and powerful?
Taking care of myself. So that is just something that having five boys, I really had to learn to do is to take time away from them to refill my cup because you
Mm.
can't fill others if you're not filled. And so if that means going to get a massage, having quiet time for myself to be able to think and reflect, or if it's going to get my nails done, those are the things that kind of ground me and help me to maintain who I am. Yes, I like to go get my nails done, and I like to look a certain way most of the time. So just being true to that
Yeah.
is really what helps me to maintain being grounded and
It's the
validating those
power
feelings.
validating your feelings. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you journal?
I do. I
And do
do.
you keep the journal or do you throw it away? Do you ever go back and look at it?
I do. I do go back and look at them. And it was like, sometimes it's like, wow, that's amazing. And sometimes it's like the growth. So,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
vision boards have always been really important to me. When I learned about vision boards and how to make vision boards, that actually, I'm very visual. And so that helped me quite a bit. to
I
make
agree with you. I
my
think visual boards remind you that you are a creator. And I got away from them for a little while. Probably honestly around COVID and no connection. I don't know why. But then I woke up one day recently and I'm like, where's my vision board? Like
yeah.
something that was just a part of me. So, I created one right away too. And it never fails to keep that in the back of your mind, like, what your goals are and everything. Back to the journal though. Are you ever just terrified that someone you love is going to read your journal and just go, holy cow, what's going
Of
on in that?
course. Of course. We all have those little things that, we don't want anybody to know. So, but we've got to be able to get that out.
Yes.
Sometimes we can't say things to other people that we can write in our journal.
Sometimes
So,
I want to put a note on the top. If someone's about to read this, don't worry, I'm okay. Just like letting it out, It's
right.
like, yes, this is inside of me, but don't worry, it won't bite
Yeah.
you. This is how I'm getting it out. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
journaling is so powerful. And have you heard of morning pages?
No.
It's a version of journaling, but it is when you journal first thing in the morning before you even get out of bed, right? So you keep it, so it's basically your unconscious mind gets a voice. And after you do it a few, and you just brain dump on this notebook, right? It doesn't have to be coherent or even be sentences. It could just be pictures. It could be whatever. Well, after doing it for a few days, maybe like a week or so, your subconscious and unconscious knows it has a voice, and it is so cool what starts coming up. And then it's like, you don't realize the things that are pulling at you, right? Because it might look like something small, like it's something around the house, or it's a window that needs to be repaired, or I should book this appointment, whatever. But in this mind, it just goes right past, like, oh, it didn't
Right.
didn't make it to the list today. But every morning, the subconscious is saying, no, that do it, do it, do it. After you see it 3 or 4 times, it pushes you to do it, and then all of a sudden, it was for a much bigger reason than you realize. So I am a big fan of the morning pages. It was written by the ideas by the author of The Artist's Way, which I haven't finished that book. But it's once again about finding your talents and where are you the creatrix, and let yourself be the creatrix. Maybe you stuffed it away for a little while. Do you feel like as a mom or a woman, and you might not, because I feel like you've been fully embodied for quite a while, but do you feel like you stuffed any parts of your passion or talents, or did you have to stuff any of it away just to kind of keep moving forward? And you're like, I'm going to deal with that. I'll work on that later when the kids are older, or that my company is more secure. Or did you stuff anything away?
I really don't feel like I did. One of the things that I did for myself when my children were little was I learned to quilt. And so I would pour myself into those quilts. Now, I made quilts for my children to begin with, and that gave me a lot of time to think, to ponder, because I was by myself, I was sewing, I was concentrating, and just that opportunity to be able to think through things. And that's kind of what set me on the path to make sure that I continued to learn. And
Oh,
so I had that creative time, and I do. You're right. Creating is what God has created us to do. So,
mm-hmm.
um, because I do believe that in a God, and I believe that that's kind of mirroring who He is. Is He created this world and He created us. He created each one of us to be individual, and He's given us all talents, and using those talents to the best of our ability to do good in the world.
I totally agree with you. And it's almost our responsibility. It is our
Yeah,
responsibility to find them and use them in some way to help. And I think some women I think you're very blessed, and I think, like I said, I feel like you're very embodied, where you found an outlet of integration. And it's so funny that the quilting, and like I do crocheting, or during stressful times, I find myself crocheting or doing something like that. And I would love to know the biodynamics between something about a woman, and we're still, but we're moving our hands, we're creating, and there's colors involved, right? And
Yep.
some people might say that's very, like, gender specific, like, oh, the women, the quilting circles, and all this and that. But who knows? Maybe it's just something our nervous system needs to calm and integrate all the motion around us. And
Yep.
because our nerve, one big aha for me was finally remembering that we are different than men. Our nervous system is different. Our hormones are different. One of the biggest things that stuck with me, I read this early in my career, and I don't even know if the book still exists, but I read How to Succeed in Business Without a Penis. And I
Yeah.
probably bought it at the time because I was a punk. Before the kids came, I was definitely on a different trajectory. But the one of the things it talked about was our hormones, I guess, how, like, men function mostly off testosterone. And testosterone doesn't go away. It's not like it ebbs and flows, right? It can be constantly streamed. So they can do that go, 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 never take a break, and they're not going to be hurting themselves inside. But women, we don't. We get bursts of testosterone, but that is not our normal state of mind. And I would love
Mhm.
to, like, talk to a doctor about this someday. But and that we need breaks,
Yes.
because once our testosterone is gone, we go into adrenals, right? And that
Yep.
is not a space you want to be in. And I feel like so many high performing women fell into that trap, where we thought we were just doing the testosterone, but we really fell into our adrenals. And that's a big problem, right? That's when things start going bad fast.
Yes.
And that has helped me a lot, because it's not a weakness, it's not a judgment, it is literally biology.
Hmm. Yeah. It's how we're made.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just um, interestingly enough, I chose to go into a field that is dominated by men. So the insurance industry is kind of a man-centric industry. Most of your insurance agents, very successful insurance agents, are men, but maybe that's a little bit of a rebel in me. So,
Could be. Do you have brothers or
no,
sisters?
I have one sister.
You had one sister, and then you had many boys, many sons.
Yeah.
I think a lot about boy moms. I think that's
Hmm.
the term, right? And I know you have a daughter, but you
Yeah.
definitely got dominated by the masculine in your life. And I'm going to totally stereotype right now, but it feels like boy moms are able to maintain their embodiment a little bit better than moms that have more girls. And I don't know if it's just managing another woman that is like yourself.
Yeah, I
Right?
think so. Or not like yourself.
Like my mother always, she cursed. She's like a little Italian mom. She always cursed me. She's like, I hope you have a daughter just like you. And then I had twins, and I was like, there you go, mom.
Double trouble.
Yeah, totally, totally. All right,
Well,
awesome. Well, I know I've already taken up a lot of your time. What else? Is there anything else you'd like to share about the female power, how you maintain it? Like what happens when okay, let's say something has to shift. Something's going on in your life. You know it's not working. Something has to shift. What steps do you take? What do you lean on to get that extra oomph, or that extra help, or that extra confidence, or whatever it is? What helps you make that shift?
I think I've gotten really good at asking for help. So I'm
Mm.
not afraid to ask for help. Um, and I'm kind of bossy sometimes. And I tell people, I need you to do this. And maybe it's because I am a boy mom, but I don't really have a problem asking for help. I know some women do, um, but I just ask for that help. Early in my marriage, I learned if I don't tell my husband what I need, he may not give it to me. So we've got to communicate with our husbands, especially. But that has helped me, I think, overall to be able to find other women and tell them, I want to support you.
Mm,
And so they know that it's not a competition and encourage the other women around me. And
mm-hmm.
I had a mother-in-law who was very supportive, and she tried to support me as much as she could and teach me the things that I needed to learn to be a good mom to my sons and my daughter. And so it's just, I feel like I have been blessed with so many people in my life who have taught me so many things, and just sitting back and being able to see how that has affected me and how I
Yeah.
can give that to the younger generation and other women around me who think that women just are all a competition. You know, there are just some women who believe that they have to compete with everybody. And it's, you know what? I can let you be who you are. I'm not going to compete with you because you have your strengths and I have mine. And just knowing that I can still love those women.
Oh my gosh, can you just feel the power of that? Like if when, I'm going to say when women, when we realize that if we locked arms and just supported each other,
Yeah.
how powerful, like you could feel that in your bones, how powerful and raise everybody up. And you were talking about I got to ask you about your no. Do you have a strong no? Do you know what I mean? Like, so you can, like, that word is like working on me lately. Like, how
Yeah.
strong is your no to things?
It depends on the situation. So if it's something that really matters to me, if it's something that affects my children or my family, I have no problem saying no. If it's not really going to make a big difference in the long term, then I have a problem saying no because it's not really going to affect anything.
Oh,
So,
that's it. I think that is what, yes, that is what we tie it to. Yes. Because I have a weak no. I have a very weak no, other than with my children.
yeah,
My kids are like, what are you talking about? I was like, no, I really have a weak no outside of the three of you. But it is because we think like that. Like we think sometimes we think, well, it's not going to really hurt anything. Why not? I heard a woman say, and this one really nailed me. She's like, well, maybe it's actually the right thing. Like, who am I to say, like what is right and wrong and what is meant to be? Like, so basically, staying so much in the flow that she says yes to everything, and there's benefits in that, but I can also see the trap in that. So I find
yeah,
this fascinating, the strength of our no and what we tie it to.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I need to say no when I don't. So I have to be careful with that. So, and my daughter has been one of the biggest supporters of my learning to say no. So she's like, just tell him no, mom, just tell him.
My daughter says
So,
the same thing, the same thing.
yeah.
Okay, great. Then to wrap it up, talk to me about the song. You talked to Tim McGraw's song. It was, by the
Oh,
way,
yeah.
fantastic song. Yeah, so is
Yeah.
that's the one that gets you pumped up?
That is the song that has carried me through more hard times. It's like, you hear this fantasy that you can have it all and you can be it all and you know, you can make millions of dollars and it's going to be easy. It's not. Anything worth doing out there is going to take work. And so I have taken that song to heart. It's like, how bad do I want it? What am I willing to do for it? And so when I get to the point where I'm tired and I've got to push myself just a little bit harder because I'm almost there. How bad do I want it? And so that song has really, really, over the years, pushed me to continue on because there are a
Yeah.
lot of times I could have given up and just say, "Oh, this is too hard." I just want to go lay down and veg, hide under the covers. But I would get myself up and I would get myself dressed and get out the door because I want it that bad.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. It's not that you feel obligated. It's not that you feel like you might be a failure, and it's not feel like you don't feel like it's your responsibility. It's just something you really want.
Yeah.
And you're letting it pull you through, right? You're like
Yes.
connecting to the final manifestation of that creation, and you're letting it pull you through. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's beautiful. I think that was fantastic, and that feels like so much like you.
Well, thank you. I think about my great grandmother who opened these retreats in a country where she didn't even know how to speak English. I mean, even as a child, I remember her speaking Finnish, and my father spoke Finnish to her, and she must have been tired some days, but she had to get up every day and she had to make sure that that retreat was running.
Hmm.
She couldn't just lay down. I have the choice that I could just lay down, but she couldn't. She had to keep it going because she
Hmm.
was new to this country and she had to continue to work and she did it.
Hmm.
So
I
that's
think
my,
our ancestors that came over and did not know English, like that was my grandma, my grandpa also. I hold on to that too a lot. I think about, oh my gosh, the courage that that must have taken. And then they all had big families and trying to sort things out in America. And like, if you can hold on to that strength, it really it reminds you. And again, about how some things take work, right? And I guess and I grew up in a catering business, so it was all work from the age of 12 to 24. There's no child law labors when it's your own kid. So like I've always been into hard work, but I never felt like victimized by it. I never felt like it was wrong because I normally enjoyed it, right? Or
right?
enjoyed what I was doing and we were creating, right? And so you're taking all that energy. And I read somewhere about how the way to happiness, we're all on this quest to happiness. And sometimes it's as simple as being productive.
Yeah.
That feeling of working at something and then it's done, like, it just feeds everything, right? Like,
Yeah.
product but you're not gonna be productive sitting on your phone scrolling and
No,
not being the main character in your own life. Like, you're
right?
watching everyone else create, and you're just sitting back being the viewer.
Exactly. And also, I think it's about being part of a group. So your family unit, you're part of a group, you're working towards a goal. And just as people, as human beings, we need to work with others and we need to have a goal. And so that's where, the journaling and the vision boards, that gives us an opportunity to work towards something and see what we have achieved
Mhm,
or
mhm.
what we're working to achieve. So,
Yes,
yeah.
I
And
love it.
working is good. It is good to work. So,
Alright, so any last bit of advice for a young woman, just starting to come into her own and how does she maintain that authenticity and still be highly functioning, very effective in the world that we're in?
just really take the time to process the decisions that you make and how they affect the others around you. Because as we learn, as we grow, those children that are watching us, or nieces and nephews, or our loved ones, all of them are affected by the decisions that we make, and just using that to help the next generation you know remember that hard work that you're going to be putting into this is going to take you far, and those that come behind you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember the moment your kids or maybe they always did, realize you were human. Uh, like I'm with you where you're always paying attention because your kids are watching you, right?
Hmm.
They're watching you more than what they're listening to you.
Yeah.
And so I was always on my best behavior with like swearing and
Right.
drinking. I was trying to be the perfect little role model.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time my kids heard me swear, and I'm proud to say it wasn't until like they were in their teens. I made it till their teens, and they were like,
Wow.
what is happening? And it's like, if you only knew what's going on in here. Do you remember a moment like that with your kids when they realize how human, like you're human?
No, I really don't. I mean, I tried to be who I was with them at all the time. So, I mean, I can't think of any of those, oh my goodness, now they know who I am kind of moments because we really enjoyed being together with them. We played a lot and I played with them. I took them to do fun things um, but then when I was not happy, they knew that also. So um, I guess just teaching them how to work through those different parts of life and different parts of me, help them
Mm-hmm.
as adults now, they can deal with things. So
Right.
I never tried to protect them from things like that. If I said something I shouldn't have, it was like I had to go back to them and apologize. So, because they got all of me. So,
I love it.
yeah, just being authentic with them. I think for you, and entrepreneurship is it's somewhat lonely life because other people don't understand. The 9 to 5ers don't understand. You know, it's all on you.
Almost like how our ancestors left their country and came here were probably so different from all the people they left that stayed in their country, and they stayed in their
Yeah,
country and they did their own thing. They were almost like like a different type of entrepreneur where
yeah,
they were like, I'm going out on my own. I'm leaving everything I've known and my support systems for like something new, something I can create new and better. That's so interesting because yes, and I feel like entrepreneur men I've run into a lot. Like I don't know, I found myself in a lot of groups with entrepreneur men,
yeah,
and they definitely support each other, but it's mostly talking about business and how are you doing marketing and how are you doing this? And that's great too. We need that too. But I do feel like when entrepreneur women come in the room, yes, we probably want to talk a little bit about that, but what we really need to talk about is the feminine side of all of it and
yeah,
get that out, right? Because
yeah.
that we need to get that out so that the
Hmm.
creator can continue.
Yep, that's exactly right. Because men don't understand, men don't need that.
Yes.
They can be autonomous and be perfectly fine. Most of them don't really care
Hmm.
to have somebody validate them or feel like, they need that assurance. But women do.
Hmm.
Women need that. And, we're, we're afraid we're going to do something that's going to harm our children or, gosh, I can't keep up with that laundry, or whatever, whatever
Yes.
it is for
Yes.
us. Um,
Yes.
and so I think that is really important for women to be able to support each other
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
in that way. And we need that where men don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And we need that space. And it's not like, I mean, do you belong to any entrepreneur groups or like some people would even call it a book club in the old days, right? Which you
Yep.
would pick a book but you barely talked about the book. It was just an
Right.
excuse for like-minded women to get in a room together and talk about something of substance.
Right. It's social and we're created for relationship. And women more than men, for some reason, we need other women. We really do. So,
Mm-hmm. We need to stop
um,
fighting that. We need to
yeah.
stop fighting that, and because we've been burned. I think a lot of us have been burned going all the way into, elementary
Oh,
school and
yeah.
stuff that happens. It's crazy.
we all know those mean girls, it's like, I, I confided this in you and don't share this with anybody else. And then they go tell everybody else. And it's like
Yes.
a safe space, you
Who
know?
knows? I would love the psychology of that and why young girls, if that has to be like that, or I'm not even going to get into that, but it's just such a common theme. It's so weird. It doesn't feel authentic at all that a young woman would be like that. And maybe they're exploring that so that when they're older, they don't do that. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but we do need each other and we've been pushing each other away and it's backfiring and we're only going to go so far. I really think
Right.
we're only going to go so far until we support each other again and then find a way to do that though in this modern era. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like, what does that look like? Like I think about Zoom rooms or, because it's not even people locally anymore, right? We're all
Right.
around. In fact, sometimes you get along better with people not locally.
Yep.
We're international now. So, and then finding that space where the right people come together and do support each other. And what does that look like for us in the future? I don't know if you have any ideas on that, on
Yeah.
that.
I don't know. I just think some women, um, can't feel good about themselves unless they feel bad about somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the hurdle I think that we have to get over is and that makes it unsafe. So we
Yes.
have to say, this woman has, succeeded and look what she's overcome and not be jealous and not bite. That's why the women call women catty because we'll just turn around and won't bite you,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we have to not do that.
Yeah.
And that's a conscious decision.
I think that's one of the reasons I'm loving these conversations is like it's kind of like talking to powerful women but off the record, which shows the human side of it. And I'm not trying to show people's vulnerable side or ruin their
Mhm.
careers or anything like that. It's more just the human side. So that
Right.
yeah, after you go conquer the world, you go home and you fold two loads of laundry or you've got a trick, you eat your like one woman just always has rice and beans in her fridge and if the kids aren't home she's eating rice or beans or cereal or like just that thing that we do when no one's looking, that isn't embarrassing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like isn't gonna ruin our career if anyone knows. um just that thing we do, like what, like I don't know. And some of them are obvious. Like I love your not knitting. You said
Quilting.
what is it?
Quilting?
Quilting, yes. Your quilting. I love that. I got to think of what mine is. Mine's like a bath, like definitely a nice hot bath every night is
Oh,
almost like non-negotiable, right?
yeah.
Like I think every woman needs a really deep bathtub where the water covers all of our body parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't that change everything? I
Oh,
feel like,
yeah.
we need to be submerged in that warm water, put some sea salt, put in, whatever it is before we go to bed. And now, all houses are built either without a bathtub or a really, short, like narrow bathtub. Like, I don't know.
Yep.
But it's that kind of stuff. It's the human element behind the powerful woman that keeps, feeding her.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Would
So
you have a dish you go to, a favorite, like an easy, simple, healthy, just make it quick or grab it and
I don't cook anymore. So I cooked all those years for all those boys. I don't cook anymore. My husband does.
yes. Oh, yay!
So yeah, I know. I love it. I love it.
That
So
might be it. That might be one of the tricks. We
right.
stop cooking
Yes, I
enough.
stopped cooking. So yep, he can have the kitchen. I have no problems with that. So
I love it.
he took it over and he's a pretty good cook every once in a while. It's like, oh, okay. But I've taught him a few things too. So the difference in sweet spices and savory spices.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, the cooking, right? It's like I
Yes.
saw this thing on social media about like a young boy saying the one thing they don't tell you about adulthood is now you need to figure out what you're going to be eating and cooking every single day for the rest of your
Yeah.
life. It's like so true. Wouldn't it be
Yeah.
so nice sometimes? Like, you think about people like that live together and like share, I don't know, some sort of a community where they're
Yeah.
sharing the cooking, right? You can kind of see how
Right.
that would be attractive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we close, I want to sincerely thank you for sharing your time and perspective with us today. These conversations really matter, and I'm grateful for your openness. Thank you so much. You've been listening to Powerful Women Off the Record with Elizabeth Veely. If today's episode resonated, please share it with a woman who needs to hear it. And if it feels aligned, follow the show so you don't miss what's next. Until then, stay sovereign.